Hello and welcome to episode 59 of our Conversations to Connect. Let's Get Real Talk, powered by Exceptional Connections. I'm Cyndi ONeill-Dady, the founder and chief connector of Exceptional Connections since 2009. At Exceptional Connections, we offer intentional and innovative solutions to boost your business. So each month, we nominate a different member of our community to be able to have a meaningful conversation with. So be sure to make yourself comfortable with a cup of tea or a beverage of your choice and take notes. Be sure to add comments to the chat box, and we'll have you engage with us later in the conversation. So around the 45-minute mark, I'll unmute the lines and invite our listeners to ask their questions, share their ahas and epiphanies, and enter into our thought-provoking conversation. So in the course of these 59 episodes, we've encouraged and supported our community to stay connected during these challenging and uncertain times. So as I get started here, I invite you to set aside all distractions and invest your attention in the conversation that's about to unfold. So thank you for everybody that has their screens up so we can see your beautiful faces. So we just want to have you look for one idea that you can put into action so that you don't cheat yourself out of the time that you've invested here. Our conversation to connect this week is with the amazing Trish Tatarek from Renton, Washington. Welcome, Trish.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's an honor.
Well, it's an honor to be part of Exceptional Connections. I've made so many great networking connections already with a wonderful group of people, and it's just been, mind-blowing because I've done other networking groups and never have made such great connections as I have with yours. And I think it's the process that you have and the beautiful people there.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, it's just been great to have you, and we just so honored to have you as our spotlight speaker for our event we had last Tuesday, and then today to be able to take a deeper dive is wonderful. So before we get into the conversation, I want to take a moment to introduce Trish to our listeners and share her passion for helping women to find their light and shine it bright with no apologies. So I love that about you. Trish has been blessed with a career focused on success, starting with working with corporate suite executives in Fortune 500 companies, helping them to streamline procedures and incorporate organizational systems. In addition, Trish has 30 years in the real estate industry as a new construction and top 5% resale broker. Her expertise in managing teams and new agents brought success from the beginning to the end of both the sales and marketing process. And as a body language and video marketing strategist with a strong focus in confidence, Trish empowers others to create and connect more success in their business presence to gain more sales in person and online. So thank you for joining us, Trish. We're excited to be able to discuss your topic, the secrets of body language strategy, how to create influence and impact without saying a word. So I'm really looking forward to learning more from you. You did a great job, as I mentioned earlier, speaking live to our June community. But before you jump in, I want you to just share a little bit more about your journey with our those that are listening live and those that are listening to the replay.
That's perfect, because that's exactly where I wanted to start, Cyndi.
Nice.
My first introduction into body language was back in 2018, 2019, when I was a real estate agent. And we have to do clock hour courses to renew our licenses every 2 years. And we get tired of taking the same old classes. And I saw body language strategy and I thought, oh, that's different. Let me take it. And in the 3 hours, it was a 3 clock hour course, I was so intrigued. I signed up right away for some group coaching with Garrison O'Shields, who is the founder. She's renamed the company. It is now the Business Leadership Excellence Institute, and body language strategy is under that umbrella. But one of the reasons why I chose to take it is I have a very bold, extroverted personality. I was one of those people waving my hands up here, leaning in your face, talking loud and talking super fast. And after that 3-hour class, it made me realize how much business was I losing based on my body language and the way that I was acting. Was my communication and my messaging and my physicality matching up with my intentions? I have been told that I'm too much most of my life. And I know where I get it. I get it from my mom. But all through high school, my early years of working, I've always said you're too controlling, you're too obnoxious, you're too loud, you're too fast, you're too this, and you're too that. Now, after life coaching and taking this class, I realized, was I too much, or was my light just really shining bright and people wanted me to surrender my light and dim it so that they could be more comfortable? Well,
Interesting.
let me be honest, it was both. I was a little too much and people were asking me to surrender. So what I wanted to do, the point behind it is I wanted to take all that bigness and hone it in and use it for the good of mankind.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Now, not everyone's an extrovert like me. We have a lot of us that are introverts where we're quiet and we talk softly and we don't look at you and we look away when we talk, and people have to lean in and they have to struggle to hear you. So there's two sides of every coin. We have more of a passive introverted side and that extrovert aggressive side. And where we really want to be is in the middle of both of those.
Right.
And so we have this great personal assessment that we do, and it's a scale of 1 to 10. Where we want to end up is in between, with 5 being perfect and who is perfect, but we want to be between that 4, 5, and 6. And I was way over here. Now you got to imagine the 8, 9, 10 was the more aggressive side, kind of thing. And I've already worked with clients that were more on the passive side. And sometimes we're a mix. So in the body language strategy, we concentrate on 4 pillars. And those 4 pillars are confidence, competence, trust, and approachability. But before I go into that, I kind of wanted to just do a quick review of what we talked about last week when I was your speaker at the networking event. And that is, why body language, kind of why is it's important, and it's important.
Perfect.
It's important for all of us to be intentional with what we're saying. But most of the time we don't even know what we're saying when you're not saying anything at all. And I kind of challenged everyone at the group that it starts before you get out of your car, being very clear on the intention of whatever meeting you're walking into, whether it's with a single person, a networking group, meeting a friend for dinner, to be very clear on that, because they could be sitting in the parking lot watching you hurriedly, scaredly get out of your car or be talking angrily on the phone, and they're watching you and they're going, oh, I got to meet with that person. That's the person I'm meeting with, or you could be already sitting down in the restaurant and they could be walking in hurried because they're late and sit down all flustered and everything. And that's our first impression. And that starts with our primal brain. So we kind of talked about that. Our primal brain is the, I got my notes right here. The primal brain is the foundation of our tribe, kind of thing. And that primal brain is looking right away within 1/10 of a second, whether or not people want to do business with you, kind of thing. So my question to most people is, are you aware of the perception that you're creating? Because it is about being intentional with your body language and not being reactive. We talked about that an expert in body language only looks at the reactive side, and that's the outside of body language. And it's kind of funny when I tell people I'm body language strategist, they're, oh, how am I standing? How am I doing this? It's just not all that exterior, because we need to match that up with your mindset. So a body language strategist, what we're looking at is connecting it to your goals and the impact that you want to make, so that you're showing up purposefully and intentionally within that first 1/10 of a second. And that is how we create influence and impact without ever saying a word. It is all in how we're presenting ourselves. And what most of us are not doing is being intentional with thinking of that first impression. And that first impression, as I mentioned, happens within 1 second. And it has 3 parts to it. That's the primal brain, it has the subconscious brain, and the conscious. As I mentioned earlier, the primal brain is the foundation of the tribe. It's the first impression. And that is the deepest layer. It is our fight or flight. We are assessing our survival in 2 different ways: survival of self and survival of the tribe. At that primal level, we're immediately looking at someone within 1/10 of a second. Is this someone that I want to be around? Is this someone I possibly want to mate with? Because it goes back to his, way back in our history. Is this someone that I can bring into my tribe? Is this someone that can be part of my group?
A lot of that's about safety then, right?
It is our safety, because if we have disconnect, and we'll talk more about that later, if we have disconnect, the primal brain, first thing it's going to do is pull away, and it's going to shut down. And we've all seen that when we're meeting with someone, we have a great product, but something in our messaging, whether it's our physicality or our words, are not lining up, and we create that dichotomy, and then you see them pull away, and you get that, oh, I don't know. This might not be right for me. I got to talk to my husband about this, and we'll get back to you. And what we're trying to do is magnetize people to us. We've all if you were working in an environment in the 80s and the 90s, we were all told to mirror people. Remember that? If they lean in, you lean in. If they, scratch their ear, you scratch your ear. No, not really. But what we want to do is magnetize people, because when we mirror them, we're working at their level. And what we want to do is draw them up and work with us at our level, and we get less friction, and we have a tendency to get more yeses. So how I relate that in the real estate world was, if you were an agent going on a listing appointment, and one agent's a discount agent, one agent is a 30 years experience, and you only have 5 years and you don't offer discounts, how do you get that person to use you? Well, you want to magnetize them. And when we magnetize them, they're going like, I interviewed the other 2 agents. This one gives a discount. This one has more years, but there's something about you. I feel comfortable with you. I feel safe with you. And we'll get into the trust. I trust you. I know that you're confident about what you're doing. I can see that you're competent. You're building trust with them, and you're approachable. And that makes it easier. They don't have to get through the friction to work with you.
That's a beautiful way to say it.
Yeah. What most of us do is we have a product, and we know all about our product, and we want to sell that product, and we know it frontwards, up, backwards, inside and out. But if they don't feel comfortable with you, it doesn't matter how good your product is. They're not going to do business with you. If I had someone with a, body care system or healthcare system, and another one here, and someone's body language is telling me one thing and it's not matching with the competence of the product, I don't see their confidence. And this person has confidence and competence. If that's a lesser product, I'm going to be drawn to that to work with that person. Because what we all want to do is be part of somebody's tribe. What we're doing is, and I think about this at Exceptional Connections. We have a really safe environment there. But we're not just networking with those people in the room. What people don't realize is you're networking with 100 people that I know. You're working with you're networking with the 10 people I want to refer to you. But I need to feel safe with you in order to refer business, especially my friends and my peers and the people who look up to me. I mean, how many times have we referred someone to a restaurant? We told them the food was great, and they went there and they had a horrible experience. We feel responsible for that, don't we?
Right. Because it's our reputation that's on the line.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's why we have to be careful and, vet the person, if you will, because it's more than just, they had a bad experience or they didn't like that person. It's our reputation that is at stake there. So that's a great point.
Yeah. So we need to think that even though we're in networking or meetings, that we're just not working with the person in front of us. We're working with all the people that they
Yes.
know that they can refer to us.
And that's the power of networking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
When I was a real estate agent, well, I'm still licensed, but I'm, kind of retired from it. The majority of my business, 80% of my business was referral based.
that speaks highly to you and
Thank you.
your skill, And what I was thinking earlier is, because you mentioned you don't want to scare people away.
Mhm.
And what you really want people to do is be leaning in and like wanting to know more, wanting to get to know you better, not running away, right?
Yes. We'll talk more about that in one of those pillars, because it's about having them that they have to be part of the tribe. It's that stamp of mind. So we'll talk more about that. So the second part of that is the subconscious brain, and that is the programming. So you got to think it's your family, your ethnicity, your social aspect, the environment that you were raised in, your faith. It's all of our biases. So if we see something that feels very familiar in our programming, that relaxes that primal brain, and we tend to be more drawn to it. And as I mentioned, it doesn't have to be something that you've grown up with. It can be anything that you take in along the way that aligns with your core values. And that's one of the first things we do in our program. Our first session is your core values, finding out what your first 5 core values are in your business and in your personal, and picking 3. Kind of goes with our, our word of the year in a lot of ways. So I have mine, and mine are, I have faith, with ethics and security. So if someone asks me to do something, if it doesn't align kind of with my faith, and when I have faith, I have subcategories underneath that. So it doesn't mean that they have to believe in God like I do or anything like that. It's what that means to me, that they're people of integrity, they're people of grace, they're people of understanding, they have a caring heart kind of thing. Ethics are more, they're honorable, they keep their word, those kind of things. And then security, it has a lot to do with my primal brain. So I only say yes to the things that align with that, and I say no to the things that don't. So it really helps us in our day-to-day living when we have a tendency to overbook ourselves or overburden ourselves, is that we're only saying yes to those things that align.
That's beautiful. And I
Yeah.
love the way you do the subcategories, because I think people shy away, not to take us in a different direction, but people shy away from really committing to 3 core values, because there's so many more that they feel are important to them.
Yes.
You have to really identify what the core ones are, the pillars, like you always say.
Yes.
And then the other ones can fall underneath. So I love
So
really that.
I have 5 under each of mine. And then the other part of that is my word of the year, and it kind of was last year, I'm not letting it go for a while, is intention. What is my intention?
So that's your 2023 word?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's being very clear on the intention for each meeting, whether I'm meeting with family, friends, or business, and it also helps me in just my day-to-day running errands. You never know who you're going to meet. Now, I'm one of those people, if you stand still long enough, I'm going to talk to you. So I need to make that good first impression.
Yes.
And I can connect and I can do business. I mean, in my real estate, I got clients just standing in line talking to someone, telling them they have a beautiful outfit, expressing they have a beautiful day, just starting a conversation. And I often tell real estate agents when they have open houses, the people aren't coming to see you, they're coming to see the house. So I ask them often, what is your intention? They go, oh, well, pick up a buyer. And I said, what if your intention is to have 5 great conversations?
Right.
So even when you're running your errands for the day or just living your life, just try, I just want to have, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, start with 1, work your way up, of just trying to have a conversation with someone you don't know.
Right.
Just to make that connection. And oftentimes that starts with a compliment. I saw a lady yesterday. Oh, she She was just, you could tell she just came from church. She was dressed to the nines. She looked beautiful. She was walking past me pretty quickly. I turned around, tapped her on the shoulder, and I says, "You have it going on today. You are everything." And what that does, even if you don't do business, when you put good out in the world,
Right.
it comes back to you tenfold. We
It's
all
all
know that.
sowing and reaping, right? Sowing those
Exactly,
beautiful
Cindy.
seeds and not expecting. That's what I love about when people say, a miracle or something wonderful came out of the blue.
Mhm.
Well, it really wasn't out of the blue. You have been sowing a lot of seeds and those seeds are coming up. You don't know where they're coming from. It's not
Yeah.
a direct correlation where I do something nice for you and
Yeah.
the
No tit for
direction comes
tat.
for you.
No.
Right. No tit for tat. Right. I
Yeah.
love that.
I remember a time in my life real quickly, and it was when the real estate boom happened. I came close to losing my house, and I got up every day and I just said to God, I said, "Who can I help today with no benefit to myself?"
Mm,
And my whole business changed. It changed everything. But the thing is, though, I meant it. I
right.
wasn't doing it to get anything out of it. I just wanted to be a good human being.
Yeah. And contribution without an agenda is really powerful.
Yes,
Mm,
yes, that's very well said, Cindy. So our
mm.
third thing that goes into that for a second is your conscious brain. That's your favorite color, your hairstyle, certain hairstyles. I love gold jewelry versus silver. We only buy Mercedes. We only buy Subaru. We only vacation in Hawaii. We only go to Mexico. My friend Tina, if every time I'm having lunch with her, I know where she wants to go. She wants to go for Mexican food. It's
Mhm.
that is her. So those are all our personal likes. And you got to think those three things, your primal brain, your subconscious brain, your conscious brain, create a lens that you are looking at other people to see whether or not you want to do business with them. But it's the same lens that they're using to see if they want to do business with you. And that happens within 1 second. 1 second. So that's why it's so important to have clear intentions and to match your messaging and your physicality to those intentions.
I love the way you say that. It goes both ways.
It goes both ways. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, like I, it's kind of, and this has ruined me for a lot of speakers, but I still take the messages in and stuff like that. But I look at people a little bit differently going through this,
Mhm.
and I am different. And I think one of the things that didn't just change my business relationships, it changed my personal relationships, but it changed the relationship with myself. When I went through this course, I didn't second guess myself anymore. I knew that when I met people, when I present, I'm putting everything out there in the best way possible. When you know what to do with your body language, you can work more on your messaging. And when they align, it's magic. Now, we also
Mm.
talked real quickly, what about a bad impression? Because I think that's a little bit more scary. A bad impression you'll have to put in 10 hours with that person to change the perception, because you want to get them where they feel safe around you, that they think you're cool, that they want to be part of your tribe, and they get what you're about. And honestly, I was not like that. My friends often had to say, when their friends met me or people met me, they would maybe be a little standoffish about me. Ooh, and they'd have to say, "Oh, it just takes time to get to know Trish. But once you do, you'll find out she has one of the kindest hearts." Well, guess what? I lost time and energy with them. I'm going to have to put in 10 hours to change that first impression. It doesn't matter what my friend says. I have to put now time in that. I have to chase them. And when we chasing people, we're spending time, and time is money. And I don't have time. I don't have time and money to throw away. Do any of you?
So that you make a really good point. So what can we do to change or correct, a bad first impression?
Well, the number one thing is, again, knowing what to do with your body language and making sure that the two are married together. And that's what that course teaches. So we're going to work on your physicality and your attention. So the core values is the first part of that. And then the second part of that, we go into your fears and wants. And then we go into a session called your past self, greater self. that is all our mindset. And then we start working into our physicality and the mindset through those, why it's important. When you understand why all of this is important, you're going to want to do it because you don't want to lose business. As I mentioned, I have met with people that had the product that I wanted. In fact, better than a product that I went out and got, but I couldn't do business with them because there was something that made my primal brain go, whoa, this is not safe. If they're going to coach me, I'm not going to listen to them because there's something wrong here, and they had the best product. So if we can get that all to line up. So to answer that question, the word is consistency. So when you're spending more time with them each time, you need to be consistent in these 4 pillars of confidence, competence, trust, and approachability.
So there needs to be congruence is what I'm hearing you say.
Mm-hmm.
And then it seems like the best way is just not to make a bad impression to begin with. So you have to dig out of it, right?
Yeah. Because I realized that I had to chase business because of my bad first impressions, and I had to change some of my friends' ideas of me. I mean, they know me now. They know that I have a kind heart. And the hardest thing, oftentimes is when we do change and we do better, some people don't want to see that. They don't want to see that change. And the thing is, you kind of vet those people out. You're no longer chasing because you're inviting and magnetizing other people in. You don't need to chase them.
Right. And the thing is, we're all works in progress, right? For those of us, especially that are conscious and want to really make a difference. And because some people aren't aware of their body language.
Yeah.
And it might be off-putting to others that are more conscious and aware, but we're all on a journey. We all want to be able to support each other where we're at.
Yeah. And my goal is to do a lot of pro bono with, church youth groups and youth. And like there's Vision House and Maple Valley, Vine Place that work with single moms to teach them how to be better parents and then to help them get educated and get out in the workforce. So if I can teach them to magnetize at their job interview, they're more likely to get that job and then get promoted.
That's beautiful.
That's really so beautiful. You got to think of this when you go through this, it's a promotion you're giving yourself.
Yes.
I love that. That's the first time I said that. So I love it.
Yeah. Well, claim that one. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So here, one of the key phrases that I have here that I'm going to just look at, it is not the other person's responsibility to figure you out or figure out your message. It is your responsibility. Now, I've been to I go to monthly meetings and still in the real estate industry, and sometimes they've had speakers that whisper, or the messaging is just kind of not matching up. And I shut down and I'm going, oh, I just wasted 3 hours of my time and $50. I don't have time to waste and money to waste because their messaging wasn't coming across. And a lot of us, when we have a product, we only have a short window of time to get those people to choose us. We often don't get that second chance to change that impression. They're going to go hire someone else.
Right.
Yeah. So there was a quote I didn't share before. It was, to make a good impression is commendable. To make a bad impression is regrettable. To make no impression is unforgivable. So
that's powerful.
Isn't that powerful?
Yes.
Yeah, the author is unknown. So if anyone finds out who the author is, please let me know. So that is the 1 second primal brain, subconscious brain, and conscious brain. Again, creating that lens where we're interacting through before we even say hello. So my question to you is, how are you showing up? So the second part of this is the science, and we talked about this because we have mirror neurons, and they're the synapses that fire when we emotionally feel connected to something, and we get pulled into that emotion. So with our physicality and our voice fluidity, we can pull people in. We get to paint a picture and pull people in, just like the movie industry does. So for those of the people that didn't get to make it to your event, let me tell them about that. You're at a movie theater. What do we get? We get reclining seats. We can order wine now and food and have it delivered to our seat, or have popcorn with as much butter and our favorite candy. And we're sitting back and we're reclined back and we're in this beautiful bubble of awesomeness. And then the movie starts. And somewhere during the movie, what happens? Everything starts to fall apart. The couple breaks up, the dog dies, and the car goes meow off the cliff. And we're sitting there like this, oh my God, trying not to cry because people are watching us and we're falling apart. And why? I mean, we're sitting in a bubble of awesomeness. It's not happening to us. It's because we're connected to what is happening right in front of us. Those mirror neurons are powerful. You're crying as if your life is in a personal train wreck for people who are not there physically and for people you don't even know. That is in our core human condition. So what if we use that to attract and magnetize people to us with our body language and our vocal fluidity? Where they, like you said, they want to lean in and they want to hear more. And the hour of lunch with you was not enough. Or if you don't get that yes, but they want to call back because they just are connected with you. They're magnetized you. They want to be in your tribe. And maybe they don't buy your product, but remember, they have 100 people behind them that can refer you. Because I refer people to other people that I do not do business with, but I network that way. I'm referring them. I trust them. I'm still in their tribe. I believe in what they're doing. It just gets us quicker to that yes, where we're going to be. Yeah.
Wow, this is so many good things to really consider in terms of how we're showing up and how we want to, make a difference in people's lives.
Yes. And our founder, I just, got to give credit to Trish ONeill-Dady, who is the founder of the Business Leadership Excellence Institute, and the body language is underneath that. I'm a facilitator of her program. And Kirsten has worked with Fortune 500 companies, and she has worked with performers that have ranked internationally. And she found that through working with the leaders and performers across the world, it was so apparent that there were four main aspects that when you walked in a room exuding these things, you would automatically be perceived as a leader. So the question is, wouldn't you want to be perceived as a leader, or I'm going to use another word, elite, in your industry, in your product line?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what we all aspire to.
We do. But most of us are just haphazardly going into it. We're not investing into that. We're on a hope and a prayer that they're going to do business with us. If you walked in with that intention and everything lines up, you have a more probability that you're going to get yes. And if they don't buy your product, that they're going to want a part of your tribe. They're going to want to hear more from you and about you. Because we work with who we trust, right?
It is. It's the know, like, and trust factor that we've all heard about.
So the first pillar is the confidence pillar. And this is the foundation of the tribe, basically. And it is our posture, and it's our breath. It's our energy level. It's an unspoken nonverbal cue of our social status, our personality, and the confidence you have in what you do. Your body placement is going to rule your posture and your breath. So there's two functional aspects. There's the skeletal alignment and there's the core body functions. So it's all about in our carriage, how we stand and hold our skeletal alignment. It affects the core functions. If we're standing properly, you hold your body properly, you breathe better, and it allows the blood to flow. We teach you a stance where your knees are not going to lock, so you're not going to pass out, and it allows the brain to be on its A game. So when we slouch and we're crouched down on one side, or we're leaning back in this, we're compacting all our organs, and that's not healthy. Over time, that causes disease. So I remember when I was first learning all this, how I practiced my stance every time I was in a line. And it hurt at first because my back was weak, my core was a little bit weak because I was always slouching. So what we do is, if these are your feet, this is, we would take this one half back to your instep. We're hip width apart. We pick up the heels and just cock in. And all of a sudden your body goes in this alignment where my ear is over my shoulder and my shoulders are over my hips. And I would practice standing in line, and I found I could stand in a line a lot longer without getting irritated because I became comfortable. I built strength in that. And guess what? Anyone seeing me in line is going to see me as a very confident person. They're going to see my strength of character in that stance.
I love that. It's beautiful.
Think about all the lines that we stand in and where we could exude, have tickets at San Michelle Winery, and you're there a lot longer. If I'm standing there, it invites people to come up and have a conversation with you. They're magnetized to you because you're different. When we slouch, we are putting on weight on our bodies. And it's often perceived as being lazy. And I don't know about you, I don't want to appear 10 pounds heavy, so I'm going to stand to my full height.
Right. We all know that when we're posing for a picture,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The way you need to stand so that you don't put on weight.
Yeah.
But I've never thought of it in terms of just, standing in a line.
Well, and in our Zoom meetings, a couple tips here is we help you with this, is you sit on the edge of your chair. So I don't sit back like this in my Zoom meetings. Your head, you should only have about this much space above you, to adjust your camera. You need to take up more of the frame. There you go. And a lot of people were using our laptops with our laptop cameras. Put a box or something at the right height underneath your laptop for that meeting, because no one wants to look up your nose.
Right.
Yeah. And I can't believe how many actors and actresses and people meeting in the media are all down like this, instead of being up here like this.
Yeah.
You're commanding attention. And I know a lot of us, especially when we're introverts, we don't want people to look at us, but you can't do business unless people look at you. Right?
Right.
So we end up carrying our bodies, like I said, 2 to 3 inches under our natural height. When we slouch, we appear 10 pounds heavier. And I'm just not really cool with that.
Yeah. That's a good motivator, right?
Yeah. No, we understand when you're at home, you're sitting back on your couch, you have your dog, your kids, or snuggling with your husband or your loved one, and we're watching a movie. We're not asking you to do that, but we're asking you in your Zoom calls in person to be at your full body height. Because what we're doing is you're showing up that you're super knowledgeable. Everyone feels that you're trustworthy, that you're kind, you're approachable, and you're going to be fun to be around with. But if you're not doing these things confidently or be perceived at confident, it's all for naught.
Or consciously, right? Consciously, confidently. So I love all these ideas that you're giving us on how to convey confidence with your posture. It's really beautiful.
Well, in the program, there's so much more, so you can't give away all the secret sauce.
That's right.
The next pillar is competence, and that is the elite level of the tribe. And that has to do with consistency. Remember when I mentioned consistency? It's the fluidity of movement in both our body and in our voice. Now we're starting to look how you are in action. It's based on agility, that consistency, where we start connecting our messaging to our physical movement. And this is where are you landing your thoughts? You use your hands to connect the brain to your thoughts. And also is a big part of the lens. Remember the lens that people are watching you through? It's how they're going to view you. You're standing in your proper position and using your hands to connect your messaging. They're going to view you in either 3 ways, depending upon how well you're doing it. Are you just starting out? Are you a Hall of Famer? Or are you at the highest elite level? How you present yourself is the expectation that you set forward. This is my favorite thing, of what level of interaction is going to be at. And I had another one there, that how we are how we are presenting ourselves gives others permission on whether they're going to choose and how they're going to want to do business with us. we're thinking we're just laying everything out on the table. People have a choice. Whether or
So let
not
me
they
ask
want.
you this. So you're laying it out, competence is all about consistency, fluidity, putting other people, so how does showing competence put others at ease?
That's a great question. So we'll get into the technical aspect, but I just wanted to paint two pictures for you real quickly. One is
Okay.
that ballerina that we mentioned.
Right.
She's a prima ballerina. Why? Because she has the most fluidity, grace, the highest leaps. She's very fluid. Another thing is football. You think about, well, or there's a green field, and whether it's soccer or football, you have people running up and down a field. You don't even have to be there. You're at home. You have your jersey on. You have your foam finger waving. You've invited your friends. You told them to wear their jersey and bring their memorabilia or beads or whatever. And you all are spending money to be part of that team. The Seahawks are great with the number 12 being our elite team. And they're elite in their movement. We can't play football like them. We can't dance like a ballerina. Those are elite movements. And when people see elite movement, they put money into it. This is where we spend our money. So when we're moving elitely, people are more likely to say yes and spend money on our services. So to answer that question, one of the ways that we do this, it is, let me go back here. It is, again, that movement, landing. And so we teach you how to use your hands and where your hand position should be. Like how far out do you expand? How far up can I go? How far down can I go? How far sideways can I go? What do I do with my hands when I'm communicating? Now, my hands are a little bit raised, a little bit higher. Normally they're a little bit between my bust line and my waist, but I want people to see and connect as I'm talking with you on Zoom today. But that really connects. But the second part of that is the fluidity of our voice. So before, I used to talk super fast, and I got a lot to share with you today. So let's get started and get rolling over it. And you just feel someone's coming at you and they're pounding at you like this. And what was the primal brain going to do? It's going to pull back and shut down.
Right.
And again, if they're going, yeah, I love this product. It's, I found that it was really good for my hair, and it's there's no fluidity in the voice. I really had to practice on my fluidity because I was a fast talker and a very loud talker. But I want to paint this beautiful picture with movement with your voice. We don't want to move our body like that, but we want to move our voice.
And that's where the mirroring comes in also, that we were talking about earlier, because you want to match your voice. If somebody speaks quickly, you want to, pick up the pace on your voice, and then, or slow down, because that it's more comforting to them, right? Is what I understand.
Well, but if we're in the sweet spot, we're not too fast, we're not too slow, and we're in a sweet spot. Even if they're a slow speaker, they're still going to be attracted to us. Even if they're a fast speaker, they're going to be attracted to us.
That's a good point.
And oftentimes we're with mixed people. So being in that sweet spot, that middle road area, is really where we want to be. But the voice is where we get to pull on the emotions, like in the movie theater, where we're painting the picture, we're painting the movie, and we're using it with our voice, that fluidity of voice. So we really like to work on that, because on the other side of that vocal aspect, that fluid voice, is motion, pulling on the heartstrings, and people get emotionally involved. You see them really lean into you. It's soothing and not disruptive to the ears. And we've heard this all before, that it's not what you say, but it's how you say. Because, my introduction is, hello, my name is Trish Tatarek, and I'm a body language strategist. Or I could go, hello, my name is Trish Tatarek. I'm a body language strategist, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. We're going to have a great time. I mean, you don't want to do business with that person. You're going to pull away and shut down. So which one do you want to listen to for an hour? And I mean, think about it. Have you ever been on a Zoom call or in a function person, you can't hear that speaker and you have to strain, and it starts to become frustrating, like I said, and tiring, and you're going, oh, why am I spending my money on this? as your audience, if you are making it difficult for them to listen to you, if they have to do all the work to get clear on the information you're sharing, that what it does, it creates frustration and annoyance. And that frustration shuts down that primal brain. They don't feel comfortable anymore. They're going to pull away. Vocal projection, your speech rate, your cadence, we want to use that to pull and magnetize. That's part of that magnetizing. This is where, again, you get to paint that beautiful picture. And you see it, we're often most erratic when we're asking for the sell. When we're done with our pitch, we've told them about our product, and we're nervous to ask them, do you want to move forward? You know, and that's something we really have to work on. But if you've already got them in your tribe, they're magnetized to you, they're going to start to ask questions, or they're just going to say yes, or tell me more, or what's the price? I'd love to do it, you know, kind of thing. So,
I'm sorry. I was just
go
going to
ahead.
Also, a no isn't always a no. It can, you know, it's a not now. It's just, it's all about their timing, not your timing. Just because you need a sale today doesn't mean it's the right timing for them. And so, you know, I love what you're saying about just building that trust, and so that when they are ready, they'll come to you and not seek out somebody else.
When I was in real estate, and especially when I did new construction, I sold them on appointments. I sold them on the appointment, and then I sold them on the next step and the next step. And I had like a 3-step process. I didn't ask them to buy my product or buy a house that day or immediately. And of course, I, you know, did it for 30 years so I could gauge where people were at pretty accurately. But remember, your first product is get them to say yes just to you.
Right.
Not to your product yet. And that's again, right. If your product's not for them, or it's not a right now for them, they have 100 people behind them. And so it could be simply, great. Well, I feel like we really have a great connection here. I'd love for you to be part of my tribe, and I'd love to stay connected with you. I have a monthly newsletter that goes out, and it has some really great tips besides information on the product. Can I sign you up for that? And then let me know if you have any friends that are looking for something similar to this as well, and maybe we can set up an introduction. Now, in real estate, we were taught often, or what I taught my clients is, they would say, oh, I gave them your card. And I said, please don't give them my card. Ask them if you can give their information to me, and tell them, if I give your information to Trish, there's 100% that she will call you and contact you. If I give you her card and tell you to reach her, there's only 50%. And we all know people will use who's ever in front of them right then and there. So you got to get in front of them.
Yep. Timing is everything.
Yeah. So, but when you're at that closing time, just slow down, take a deep breath, because this is where we get erratic and we get nervous to ask, and they're going to sense that. What does the primal brain do? Pull back, shut down. And we don't want that. So the last one we have is the ownership of the tribe, which is trust. Oh, I have 2 more. I had to speed this up. So ownership of the tribe is the stamp of the tribe. This is the mine. You know, like I said, your hairstylist, your real estate broker, your insurance agent, my makeup person, my person where I only buy my house products from. And because we're in their tribe, we're going to refer them. So there's a way that we can express trust from the get-go, because that was my question. How can in 1 second I can exude trust? And that is keeping our body open from our jawline down to our pelvic bone. So we teach you that. And that has to do with our hand movements. That's the vulnerable spot. Again, in your arm or your leg, if you got pierced, it's not fatal. If I got pierced in the middle part where my organs are only protected by some cartilage and some bone, it could be fatal for me. So if I leave that open, and we teach you how to leave that open, I'm conveying, they don't know it, but I'm conveying I trust you because I've left you open to harm me. And we reflect what we see. So if they see that, they're going to reflect that back out to us. And that's how you show trust from the get-go. It starts the nanosecond that we start talking. You know, you think about kids, they're really good about this because, they get to that part where everything's mine, mine, mine. And their tribe is their pacifier, their teddy bear, their Tory train, their book. And you try to take someone out of their tribe and they
Forget
grab
about
it and they go, that's mine,
That's right.
you know?
You
So
get territorial real quick.
and it's based again on that core human condition because as human beings, we emotionally respond to what we physically see and hear. So if I'm open, I'm conveying trust to you. And they're sensing that, not really sometimes even aware of that. And the thing is, you take this course, you're aware of what other people are doing. Now, if something is discordant and it's not matching up, there's no consistency, it starts to create that question mark, what's going on here? And confusion is opposition, because if you're saying something but you're not physically showing it, then there's a dichotomy that's happening there. And it doesn't matter what your messaging it is, they're going to start to pull back and shut down. Because again, we emotionally respond to what we physically see and hear. The brain runs the show, and it's really important. And we have to have our mindset straight first. Our physicality follows that mindset.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So when I'm open, I'm reflecting vulnerability, that I'm stable, I'm doing it in a confident way. I'm showing you that I'm trustworthy, I'm fully present, and I'm open to you. And what that all means is I am now at a higher level of authenticity.
Mm-hmm. Which is what people are really looking for nowadays.
If I feel you're fake, am I going to do business with you?
No.
I need to know that you're authentic. I need to know that you're confident in yourself, confident about your product, and showing that competency in your body language and your fluidity. And I need to know that I can trust you. And you reflect that trust out and it comes back to you. And that's how you create that trust at a first impression. The fourth one is the emotional stamp, which is the approachability. This is because you can be a confident, very articulate with what you're saying, showing a lot of beautiful movement, lots of clarity in what you're doing. But if you're saying these things with a grumpy look on your face, no one wants to do business with you. So again, check the intention before you step into your meeting, before you get out of the car. I have a thing that I do. It's a Christian thing. I don't hide my Christianity, and I'm not trying to convert anyone here, but I just go, God loves me, God loves me, God loves me, God loves me. And pretty soon I'm laughing and going, woo, so it takes me out of a bad mood. So before I get out of my car, if I just had a bad experience, I go through a process. So find a mantra that works for you, that you can do before you get out of your car, that changes that mindset, so that when you step out, your body is matching your mindset. Because think about it, we can easily tell if someone's frustrated. We can tell if someone's mad just in their physicality. They don't even have to speak.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, we all have things that happen to us before we go into a meeting, give a talk, whatever. Things happen, like life happens. But we don't need to bring it with us.
No.
We could be able to leave it behind.
Yeah.
And not have everybody have to experience what we're experiencing, because it's not appropriate.
Yeah.
And they get mixed messages because they don't really understand what you're going through. They just feel the anxiety, the tension, all of that is,
yeah, because you could just simply say, I am joy, I am joy, I am joy, I am joy. And by the 15th, 20th, and maybe it might take you 30 some days, you are joy.
Right. So it's it's checking your intention and setting your intention. Both are valuable.
Both. Very well said. Yes, I love that. Yeah. So if there's some kind of inconsistency, again, that dichotomy is going to trigger the unknown, and we just shut down. So one of the things that we can do with approachability, it's all in these eyebrows. See these eyebrows here? They're magic. And these are something I've practiced, because when I smile, see how my eyes shut down? So I've learned to smile. It's hard when I'm looking at myself like this, but I've learned to smile with my, not like this. But I learned to smile, and the whole time I'm talking here, I'm using my muscles in here to keep my eyes as open as
We're all
possible.
doing that right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. Everyone does it. So, like,
Perfect.
someone attractive comes in the room, and you go, when eyebrows, yeah, and when eyebrows goes up, we've seen it, possible mate or something like that.
That's funny.
Or, when we're meeting with someone and we're having a tense, deep, full concert, then we have a tendency to come in, and the brows come in, and we're
Right.
showing emotion. We're showing that we are connected to them, and we're giving them that attention.
We're
And
focusing.
people, yeah, are focused, and people feel valued for that. Or it could be, oh, these eyebrows are magic. But if we're cross and like this, it's going to be dumb. This is going to be stupid. I don't want to sit next to you. I don't want to get to know you. And you possibly could be the insurance agent that I need for my new business, but I'm not sitting next to you. I'm not going to ask you who you are, what you do, or anything. I'm going to avoid you because no one wants to be around crunchy. And that's what we call it. That's when someone is, yeah, we call it crunchy.
I love it.
When you just know that it's going to be train wreck, whatever it's going to happen. It's not going to be good. I don't want that person in my tribe. I don't want them to be part of my tribe. And I certainly don't want to be in their tribe. And that's kind of a brief synopsis of that.
Oh, there's so much good stuff here.
Yeah. So you can see why it's really important. And I went through life so much not knowing how important all of this was to increase my business. Again, my question to myself was, how much business did I lose?
Yes. And that's a great question to end with.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Trish. We really appreciate you sharing, just what you've learned, your passion for making a difference in the world with body language strategies. So I know we went a lot of information here, but I want to make sure I open the call to anyone that has any questions while we have you on the line. So feel free to unmute yourself, and it doesn't even have to be a question. It could just be something that you've heard that you want to implement into your into how you do business. So,
or aha moment.
Right, or an aha moment. So Lisa, I saw you unmuted yourself.
Oh, I did. That was wonderful, Trish. So many good points. I just love the intention before I get out of the car. I haven't thought about that. So I think that's really important to start now.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a great first step, definitely.
Yeah. So I went through Trish's program long time ago. When she talked about the eyebrows, I felt they went up to my hairline.
Yeah. It takes practice, it really does. I had to practice in front of everything I do, in the 12-week program, there is a lot of practice that we go through there. We can work with you one-on-one or sometimes in group settings. And I had a checkboard of things that I had to do every day just to practice.
Wow.
Standing, walking, my eyebrows. We do a lip buzz thing that help you with your fluidity of your voice. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
Patrice, did you have a question?
I picked up so many wonderful tips. This was just a great presentation, and I really like the model of the four key areas that you work on. I do a lot of presentations. I'm involved in Toastmasters, so oftentimes I'm speaking to an audience. So do you have any tips on how to make that connection with the audience, not so much maybe an individual client, but a group of people?
Well, it's the entire body language thing. It's really knowing how to stand, use your hands, fluidity of your voice. Again, if you know your intention, how you want to come across the message. And I always say it's not about being perfect, Patrice. It's about being impactful. So, when you feel confident, you're confident about what you're speaking about, but you can show that trust and that approachability so that afterwards people want to walk up to you and they want to have a conversation with you. So it's the whole program. And I know you and I she's the one who won the personal assessment. So
Oh,
we're
very
going to have more conversation where we get to go through those 4 pillars. And in each of those 4 pillars, there's 4 to 5 categories where we rate. We work together and we rate yourself and find your strengths and find areas that you might want to work on. And in that discovery, you might find that. So that might help you with your Toastmasters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank
Because
you.
and I should join one because I don't know much about them. So I don't know what they really focus. If they focus more on the message, are they focusing on how you're standing, landing your, doing with your hands, or making the proper eye contact and using those eyes and painting the picture with your voice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all of that.
It's all of it. It's all put together.
Mm-hmm.
It's magic. It's the magnetizing. Just
Mm-hmm.
1 or 2 is not the full, it's not the full Monty.
Right. Thank you.
Well, this is beautiful. So thank you for being on the call. And before we end, I want to give Patricia, Trish, an opportunity to share her. We got Patrice and Trish and Patricia. I'm
Well,
sorry.
I'll answer to Patricia since I'm
Yes,
really
yes.
Patricia. So yeah.
Give you a chance to share your offer with the community that is here live and those that are listening after the fact.
Okay, and anyone can email me, and you have the email, the Zoom link. I have
Yes.
this list here, right here, about 2 things specials that we have is we have a personal assessment. And again, this is over those 4 pillars of confidence, competence, trust, and approachability. Each of those have 4 subcategories where we go over and we work with you together to rate yourself and see the areas that you're strong in and areas that you might want to improve in, and to see if the next step is to be to do the course with us. If you want to know a little bit more, the owner, the founder, Kirsten ONeill-Dady, has a 5 success challenge. Let me go back. The personal assessment is normally $200. For this group, we're offering it at $147. It's an hour session with me. The success challenge is 5 videos by Kirsten ONeill-Dady. That's for $19. It is normally, I want to say, $29, so it's $10 off. For 5 days, you will get an email, and I'll tell you a little bit more. It might intrigue you a little bit more about body language strategy. And then the next step is to either do a discovery call with me or a personal assessment.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for making those available. And so if you want to contact Trish or get to know her better, you're welcome to go to lifeandworkwithtrish.com, her website.
Excuse me, I don't have my website yet.
Okay.
So what it is it's just Trish at lifeandworkwithtrish.com to email me. I'll send you the links. I can send you this page with the links with everything that we offer, or the link to the founder's website. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
My website, because I'm a facilitator, is this long, Cyndi.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate the clarification. So any parting words, Trish?
Well, again, the word for me today is intention, really to be clear on your intention and know that your presence is the permission you're giving to others on how they're going to choose to work with you. They have the choice to work with you, and they're basing it on those 4 pillars. So my question to you is, how are you showing up?
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone for joining us. And I just, just hope that every connection is an exceptional connection for you. So signing off. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Such a privilege.
You're welcome.
I'll talk to you.